Fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team. What's it called? I can't remember the name. The Clippers, thank you. Game without her. And
Barack Obama built his reputation on cool composure and flawless speeches. But Megyn Kelly isn't buying the act. She slices through the illusion, revealing a man more obsessed with controlling his legacy than taking responsibility for his actions. Obama tries to float above the chaos, untouchable and untarnished. Kelly drags him back down to earth, exposing the cracks in the carefully crafted image. For once, the smooth operator is left completely stripped of his protective sheen.
Stole his first term as president. These absolute liars who run around trying to act like they're the protectors of democracy completely ruined it, tried to undermine it at every turn and at the highest levels with lies, with out and out lies that were really serious and changed foreign policy and changed the course of history in this country in Trump's presidency. And there must be accountability. There has to be actual criminal accountability for those who lied. And I can't wait to see this administration do it.
Barack Obama has spent years crafting the image of the untouchable statesman, the polished figure who floats above politics, sipping lattes and smiling as if the world revolves around his approval. But Megyn Kelly isn't fooled. She doesn't see a visionary. She sees a man running the same tired act for over a decade, hoping no one notices the cracks forming beneath the glossy veneer of his so-called legacy.
And then with Steve Ballmer, who's the owner, who he's been on this show. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle, according to TMZ. So,
I think they seem to be soft launching.
If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Obama's playbook is pure illusion. He vanishes when accountability is required and reappears whenever applause is guaranteed. When crises hit, he becomes a shadow, floating above the fray. But when a Netflix special or a carefully staged speech rolls around, he's back, soaking up the spotlight like it's his birthright. Megyn Kelly has no patience for this act. She exposes the truth. It's all about control, controlling the narrative, the image, and most importantly, his relevance.
There too, to me, it's like the elevation of Barack Obama was important to the left in this country. It was important to them. It was, you've made this point too, they were working something out of their own, about their own history, their own feelings, race, and so on. And factoring in, yes, point taken that Sheila is half Japanese too, but also half Dutch. So she looks white. So a white-ish ex-girlfriend fantasizing about having gay sex. That was not part of the program. That no one would have any interest in that. They only wanted to elevate the 2004 Democratic National Convention speaker. There is no black, red America. There is no blue America. There is only the red.
And that's the most damning part. This isn't about leadership anymore. It's about clinging to cultural dominance long after leaving the White House. Obama has become the ultimate brand ambassador for himself. Every speech, media appearance, and carefully staged post-presidency moment feels less like statesmanship and more like a marketing campaign to remind the world he still matters. Kelly sees right through it and calls it what it is: insecurity masquerading as influence.
Well, when I first saw that he was seen at a basketball game without her, I'm like, well, that's no big deal. Doug would go to a basketball game without me all the time. I would say, go without me. But then when I heard, then he went on to meet with their daughters.
Right.
Like there was, you know how it is. Like every parent who's got girls who are in college is like dying to spend time with their daughters. And so this is an opportunity to see both of them. And she's not there. So I don't know why, but this just keeps happening. And that Valentine's Day message was so ridiculously.
The irony is almost comedic. Here's a man who once led the free world, yet remains obsessed with controlling headlines like an influencer scrambling for likes. Obama's brand has become more fragile than his legacy, and Megyn Kelly wastes no time highlighting that fragility. Because what's worse than a man who pretends to be above criticism? A man who pretends to be above criticism while desperately craving validation.
That intelligence community assessment of January 17 was set to downplay Russian interference in the 16 election. And then after a meeting with Obama and the top intelligence community officials, or at Obama's direction at least, the intelligence community did a complete 180 and played up Russian interference instead of playing.
Let's talk about that legacy for a second. Obama loves to bask in the glow of nostalgia, reminding the world of the hope and change era like it was some golden age. But strip away the slogans and choreographed speeches, and what's left? A healthcare plan that limped along under endless revisions, a foreign policy that left regions in shambles, and a political machine that handed the country to Donald Trump. Yet Obama walks around as if history owes him gratitude. Megyn Kelly isn't handing out free passes. Behind the eloquence was a record of mediocrity and missed opportunities. And here's where Kelly twists the knife. Obama's obsession with his image isn't the behavior of a confident leader. It's the behavior of someone who knows his legacy doesn't hold up under scrutiny. If he truly believed he was untouchable, he wouldn't be constantly hovering in the background, reminding America he's still here. He'd let the work speak for itself. Instead, he keeps popping up, not because he's needed, but because he's terrified of being forgotten. That's the dirty little secret. Obama fears irrelevance. Megyn Kelly exposes it without hesitation. For a man who once commanded global attention, the thought of fading into the background must feel unbearable.
The question of the girlfriends without mentioning one of the other barn burners, and that is there was another girlfriend that he had whose letters with Barack were produced to you. She gave you letters between the two of them, except for the one paragraph that would then wind up going public via other means, via Emory University. You sent a researcher to go print what was in that paragraph. In the letters that were given to you, it just said a paragraph about homosexuality. This has made a lot of news, but it turns out that he was writing to his then girlfriend, this is, back in the younger years, about how he had repeated fantasies of having sex with men. Now, what do you make of this? It's like, is Barack Obama a gay man? Is he a bisexual man? Like, what is your takeaway of the significance of that paragraph and why she didn't want to produce it to you and why no one's really gone there?
That's why he keeps surfacing in cultural spaces, Netflix specials, podcasts, curated interviews. He positions himself as the wise elder statesman in Democratic circles, despite leaving his party in one of its weakest positions in decades. He doesn't want to be remembered as the president who opened the door for Trump. He wants to be remembered as the philosopher king who elevated American politics. Megyn Kelly's roast leaves no room for that fantasy. The public has caught on. The glow of Obama's cool act has dimmed. People see the cracks, the detached elitism, the overconfidence, the habit of speaking as if he's above the nation he once led. It doesn't inspire anymore. It irritates. Kelly nails it. His speeches now sound less like leadership and more like lectures from a celebrity expecting gratitude just for speaking. Meanwhile, Democrats treat him like a mascot, wheeling him out when things get desperate, as if his aura can still save them. But the aura is gone. What remains is a man clinging to a curated image, frustrated that reality doesn't match the myth. And that's where Kelly delivers the harshest truth. Obama is no longer a political force. He's a brand manager, desperate to protect his market value.
Down, not just Barack Obama's ex-girlfriend, but somebody to whom he had proposed marriage not once, but twice. And the story she told you about why their relationship ended kind of reframes a narrative that Barack Obama himself was trying to pitch to us in his book, Dreams from My Father. So can you explain that story to us and how you found the ex-girl?
Think about the contrast. Donald Trump takes the field like a wrecking ball, unfiltered, unapologetic, constantly rewriting the conversation whether people like it or not. Obama, on the other hand, hides behind polish, trying to preserve a glossy memory instead of risking real relevance. One embraces chaos and commands attention. The other retreats into curated appearances, as if allergic to genuine confrontation. Kelly draws that line and leaves it there for everyone to see. And here's the part that stings the most. Obama's act isn't aging well. The charm that once captivated voters now feels stale. The cadence of his voice, once electric, now sounds rehearsed. The grand ideas feel hollow because they come from a man who had the chance to change everything and settled for half measures. Megyn Kelly doesn't just point this out. She ridicules the desperation it reveals. Nothing is sadder than a man trying to live off the fumes of a fire that burned out years ago. If Obama wanted to protect his legacy, the smartest move would have been to fade gracefully. But he couldn't resist. He had to keep inserting himself, keep talking, keep reminding people of his historic status. In doing so, he weakened the very image he worked so hard to protect. Kelly exposes this as the ultimate self-inflicted wound. The man who wanted to be remembered as timeless is now remembered as someone who couldn't let go.
Second soundbite. This one is from Amy Poehler's podcast, just a couple of days ago, May 13th, on the rules between Michelle and Barack, and also brother Craig.
What I like about you and what I feel like is your family is like teasing is your love language.
Oh, for sure.
Same.
For sure.
Can you explain how important it is to be able to tease people that you love?
Oh my God. This is funny because both Barack and Craig will say that I don't let them tease me. See, we have a deal, Barack and I, in our marriage, and it started very early. It's like, I can tease you, but you cannot tease me.
That's why Megyn Kelly's roast hits harder than any political critique. It's not just about policy or decisions made in office. It's about the hollowness of the brand, the empty performance behind the polished speeches, the fragile ego hiding behind the calm smile. She dismantles the illusion brick by brick until what's left is a man who looks less like a leader and more like a fading celebrity desperate for a comeback. Obama has always sold himself as the exception, the different politician above it all, immune to the flaws of those who came before. But Kelly's takedown proves he's not the exception at all. He's the perfect example of a politician obsessed with image over substance, control over truth, and perception over reality. The myth has been stripped bare. What's revealed is mediocrity dressed up in eloquence. The more you examine Obama's post-presidency life, the clearer the pattern becomes. He doesn't operate like a retired leader who trusts the legacy of his decisions. He operates like a Hollywood actor whose career is slipping, constantly searching for the next big production to keep his name in lights. From lucrative book deals to glossy Netflix contracts, everything about him screams brand maintenance rather than leadership. And that's exactly where Megyn Kelly sharpens her critique. What kind of world leader spends more time chasing streaming deals than addressing the shortcomings of the policies he left behind?
Of Barack Obama, he decided to drop a post on X today, and I thought, okay, maybe in the wake of the Pete Hegseth presser, he's going to say something like, no matter how you feel about the Iranian strike, hats off to our, boys in blue, our guys in the bombers. He went a different way. This is what it was.
Curious how you're thinking about this eulogy specifically in the moment and all the tensions that you just brought out.
I didn't even want to talk. I was so mad. Part of the reason I think I ended up having anything to say at that moment was when I heard some of the victims' families forgive the shooter, and I thought, all right, let's see if maybe this is a way America can hear me at this.
It's as if Obama realized he couldn't win in the arena of results, so he pivoted to storytelling instead. He wants the history books to read like a memoir, one where the failures are footnotes and the speeches are the highlights. Megyn Kelly tears into that strategy, pointing out that history isn't shaped by self-promotion, it's shaped by outcomes. And the outcomes of the Obama years, when stripped of rose-colored filters, are far less flattering than his fan base wants to admit. Take foreign policy, the very area Obama believed would define his presidency. What he actually left behind was chaos. The Middle East is more unstable. Alliances are fractured. Adversaries learned they could push America around without consequence. That isn't leadership. That's negligence dressed up as restraint. Kelly skewers this contradiction, highlighting the smug detachment with which Obama sells failures as nuance and sophistication. Translation: when you mess up badly enough, just use big words and hope no one notices. And it isn't just foreign policy. Domestically, the cracks are equally glaring. His signature healthcare law, the supposed crown jewel of his presidency, remains divisive, expensive, and riddled with loopholes. He promised transformation. Instead, it became a political football, patched together with compromises that please no one fully. Yet Obama still parades it as a triumph, as if rising premiums and bureaucratic tangles don't exist. Kelly hits hard here, exposing a truth obvious to anyone paying attention. Only a man obsessed with image would call a patchwork policy a masterstroke.
And the reason people thought he was anti-Semitic was he said the reason that President Obama had not spoken with him in a long time was, quote, this is from him directly, "Them Jews ain't gonna let him talk to me. I told my baby daughter that he'd talk to me in 5 years when he's a lame duck, or in 8 years when he's out of office. They will not let him talk to somebody who calls a spade what it is. I said that from the beginning. He's a politician, I'm a pastor, he's got..."
And perhaps the most unforgivable part of Obama's so-called legacy is what he left for his own party. Under his leadership, Democrats didn't just lose the White House after him, they hemorrhaged control of Congress, governorships, and state legislatures. The man who promised a new era of Democratic dominance instead presided over one of the steepest declines in party power in modern history. Obama built his brand railing against elitism, yet his post-presidency life reads like the ultimate insider playbook. $1 million mansions in Martha's Vineyard in Hawaii, celebrity friendships, and speaking fees that dwarf the wages of the very voters he once claimed to champion. It's a life drenched in detachment. Megyn Kelly calls it exactly what it is. A stark revelation that the man who once seemed to embody empathy for ordinary Americans never truly lived their reality, never genuinely related to their struggles, and never really intended to.
So these are truthful statements, but you have to look beyond what you're actually seeing. I like that. If there's one person I can always count on, it's you.
Count on for what?
You're my rock. Always have been, always will be. In what way? Like the person who weighs you down?
Right. Are you weighing me down in the ocean? Are you the immovable rock around all that we all have to move around? Like your ambition is the immovable rock and we are the waves crashing against it?
Kelly hammers the point home. The charm and eloquence that once mesmerized voters now function as a shield, protecting a record that, under scrutiny, is thin and inconsistent. Obama's carefully curated image, his speeches, interviews, and cultural appearances was always meant to dazzle and distract, to replace accountability with applause. But Megyn Kelly refuses to let the illusion stand. She shows that beneath the polished rhetoric lies a man more concerned with perception than policy, with personal legacy over public service. The result is stark. A president remembered more for the performance of leadership than its practice, more for his brand than his impact. Kelly exposes the contradiction that defines the post-presidential Obama, someone who promised connection but lived in detachment, who preached empathy while enjoying elite privilege, and who cultivated influence while leaving the hard work of results to others. The truth she unveils is undeniable. Charisma alone does not equal accomplishment, and image, no matter how perfect, cannot replace substance.